Okay, so we are on our last little section of chapter 1 of Ramona, where Ramona just got her library card. It's like a fake librarian card where the librarian says, you can pretend it's yours because she can't actually write. Alright, Ramona brightened at this, and Ms. Griever checked out the books on Beezus' card. As soon as they got home, Ramona demanded, read my new book to me! And so Beezus began. Big Steve was a steam shovel. He was the biggest steam shovel in the whole city. When she finished the book, she had to admit she liked Big Steve better than Scoopy. His only sound effects were tooting and growling. He tooted and growled in big letters, and every page. Big Steve did not shed tears or want. Sorry, I got distracted. Did not shed tears or want to be a big pile driver. He worked hard at being a steam shovel, and by the end of the book, Beezus had learned a lot about steam shovel. Unfortunately, she did not want to learn about steam shovels. Oh well, she guessed. She could stand 2 weeks of Big Steve. Read it again, said Ramona enthusiastically. I like Big Steve. He's better than Scoopy. How would you like me to show you how I really write your name? How do you really write your name? Beezus asked, hoping to divert Ramona from steam shovels. Okay, agreed Ramona. Beezus found a pencil and paper and wrote Ramona in large, careful letters across the top of the paper. Ramona studied it critically. I don't like it, she said at last. But that's the way your name is spelled, Beezus exclaimed. You didn't make dots and lines, said Ramona, seizing the pencil she wrote. And here she goes again. But Ramona, you don't understand. Beezus took the pencil and wrote her own name on the paper. You've seen me write Beatrice, which has an I and a T in it. See? Like that. You don't have an I or a T in your name because it isn't spelt that way. Ramona looked skeptical. She grabbed the pencil again and wrote with flourish. Ooh, I was just going at it. That's my name because I like it, she announced. I like to make dots and lines. Lying flat on her stomach on the floor, she proceeded to fill the paper with I's and T's. But Ramona, nobody's name is spelled with just Beezus stopped. What was the use? Trying to explain spelling and writing to Ramona was too complicated. Everything became difficult with Ramona when Ramona was around. Even as easy things like taking a book out of the library. Well, if Ramona was happy thinking her name was spelled with I's and T's, she could go ahead and think it. The next 2 weeks were fairly peaceful. Mother and Father soon tired of tooting and growling, and like Beezus, they looked forward to the day Big Steve was due at the library. Father even tried to hide the book behind the radio, but Ramona soon found it. Beezus was happy that one part of her plan had worked. Ramona had forgotten the little steam shovel. Now that she had a better book on Ramona's second trip to the library, perhaps Miss Evans could find a book that would make her forget steam shovels entirely. As for Ramona, she was perfectly happy. She had 3 people to read aloud a book she liked and spent much of her time covering sheets of paper with I's and T's. Sometimes she wrote in pencils, sometimes she wrote in crayons, and once she wrote in ink until her mother caught her at it. Finally, to the relief of the rest of the family, the day came when the Big Steve had to be returned. Come on, Ramona, said Beezus. It's time to go to the library for another book. I have a book, said Ramona, who was lying on her stomach, writing her version of her name on a piece of paper with purple crayon. No, it belongs to the library, Beezus explained, glad that for once Ramona couldn't possibly get her way. It's my book, said Ramona, crossing several T's with a flourish. Beezus is right, dear, observed Mother. Run along and get Big Steve. Ramona looked sulkily, but she went into the bedroom. In a few minutes she appeared with Big Steve in her hand, with a satisfied expression on her face. It's my book, she announced. I wrote my name on it. Mother looked alarmed. What do you mean, Ramona? Let me see. She took the book and opened it. Every page in the book was covered with enormous purple I's and T's in Ramona's very best handwriting. Mother, cried Beezus, look what she's done, and it's crayon so it won't erase. Ramona Quimby, said Mother, you're a very naughty girl. Why did you do a thing like that? It's my book, said Ramona stubbornly. I like it. Mother, what am I going to do? Beezus demanded. It's checked out on my card and I'm responsible. They won't let me take any more books out of the library and I won't have anything to read, and it will be all Ramona's fault. She's always spoiling my fun and it isn't fair. Beezus didn't know what she would do without her library card. She couldn't get along without library books. She just couldn't. That was all. I do not spoil your fun, stormed Ramona. You have all the fun. I can't read, and it isn't fair. Ramona's words ended in a howl as she buried her face in her mother's skirt. I couldn't read when I was your age. I didn't have someone read to me all the time, so it is fair, argued Beezus. You always get your way because you're the youngest. I do not, shouted Ramona. And you don't read all the time. You're mean. I am not mean, Beezus shouted back. Children, cried Mother, stop it. Both of you. Ramona, you were a very naughty girl. A loud sniff came from Ramona. And Beezus, her mother continued, the library won't take your card away from you. If you'll get my purse, I'll give you some money to pay for the damage of this book. Take Ramona along with you. Explain what happened at the library will tell you how to pay. This made Beezus feel better. Ramona sulked all the way into the library, but when they got there, Beezus was pleased to see that Miss Evans, the children's librarian, was sitting behind the desk. And there you see them fighting over all this mess and all frustrated. Miss Evans was the kind of librarian who would understand about little sisters. Hello, Beatrice, said Miss Evans. Is this the little sister I've heard so much about? Beezus wondered what Miss Evans had heard about Ramona. Yes, this is Ramona, she said, and went on hesitantly. And Miss Evans, I'm a bad girl, interrupted Ramona, smiling winningly at the library. Oh, you are? Said Miss Evans. What did you do? I wrote in a book, said Ramona, not the least ashamed. I wrote in purple crayon, and it will never, ever erase. Never, ever, never. Embarrassed, Beezus handed Miss Evans Big Steve the steam shovel. Mother gave me the money to pay for the damage, she explained. The librarian turned the pages of the book. Well, you didn't miss a page, did you? She finally said to Ramona. No, said Ramona, pleased with herself. And it will never, never. I'm awfully sorry, interrupted Beezus. After this, I'll try to keep our library books where she can't reach them. Miss Evans consulted a file of the library cards in the drawer. Since every page in the book was damaged and the library can no longer use it, I'll have to ask you to pay for the whole book. I'm sorry, but this is the rule. It will cost $2.50. $2.50? What a lot of things that would have bought, Beezus reflected as she pulled three folded dollar bills out of her pocket and handed them to the librarian. Miss Evans put the money in the drawer and gave Beezus 50 cents in change. Then Miss Evans took a rubber stamp and stamped something inside the book. By twisting her head around, Beezus could see that the word was discarded. There, Miss Evans said, pushing the book across the desk. You have paid for it, and now it's yours. Beezus stared at the librarian. You mean to keep? That's right, answered Miss Evans. Ramona grabbed the book. It's mine! I told you it's mine! Then she turned to Beezus and said triumphantly, You said people didn't buy books at the library, and now you just bought one. Buying a book and paying for damages are not the same thing, Miss Evans pointed out to Ramona. Beezus could see that Ramona didn't care. The book was hers, wasn't it? It was paid for and she could keep it, and that's not fair, thought Beezus. Ramona shouldn't get her way when she had been naughty. But Miss Evans, protested Beezus, if she spoils a book, she shouldn't get to keep it. Now every time she finds a book she will. Beezus did not go on. She knew very well what Ramona would do, but she wasn't going to say it aloud in front of her. I see what you mean. Miss Evans looked thoughtful. Give me the book, Ramona, she said. Doubtfully, Ramona handed her the book. Ramona, do you have a library card? Miss Evans asked. Ramona shook her head. Then Beezus must have taken the book out of her hand, said Miss Evans. So the book belongs to Beezus. Why, of course. Why hadn't she thought of that before? It was her book, not Ramona's. Oh, thank you, said Beezus gratefully as Miss Evans handed the book to her. She could do anything she wanted with it. For once, Ramona didn't know what to say. She scowled and looked as if she were building up a tantrum. You've got to read it to me, she said at last. Not unless I feel like it, said Beezus. After all, it's my book. She couldn't resist adding, That's no fair. Ramona looked as if she were about to howl. Oh, it is too fair, said Beezus calmly. And if you have a tantrum, I won't read to you at all. Suddenly, as if she decided Beezus meant what she said to Ramona, stopped scowling. Okay, she said cheerfully. Beezus watched her carefully for a minute. Yes, she really was being agreeable, thought Beezus with a great feeling of relief. And now she did not have to read Big Steam unless she wanted to. Beezus felt she wouldn't mind reading it once for a while. Come on, Ramona, she said. Maybe I'll have time to read it to you before Father comes home. Okay, said Ramona happily as she took Beezus's hand. Miss Evans smiled at the girls as they started to leave. Good luck, Beatrice, she said. So that library kind of understands both sides. Alright, so that's the end of chapter 1. Tomorrow we will start chapter 2, Beezus and her imagination. Alright, have a great night.